We have a lot of problems in our society at the moment. A lot of, every time you turn on the news, it's something negative at the moment. And I think whilst we can't solve that, particularly in primary schools, we can definitely, influence the next generation to make the right decisions and make better choices in their lives, and hopefully they'll have a positive influence on society. So I don't think necessarily we can fix society and change it, right here and now, but actually we can send out a positive message that hopefully encourages children to make a positive impact on society.
Welcome to Lessons for Life. I'm Gabby.
I'm Marnie.
And today we're interviewing
Mr. Kit Brown
and head teacher Mrs. Skeggs.
Thank you for being here. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Really excited to be here.
Can you tell us more about your job roles?
Yep, so I'm an executive head teacher, which means I'm a head teacher of 2 different schools and a school for children with behaviour learning difficulties.
And I'm a class teacher in year 4, and I actually teach at Mrs. Skeggs' school.
Could you share the reasons why you wanted to work in education?
Well, for me, it all started with my mum. Growing up, I always played football, and that was all that I ever wanted to do, was be a footballer. And when things didn't go too well, I had to think about different career paths. And my mum has always worked in a school, and she thought, do you know what, Kit? You'd be really good working as a teacher. And so I considered it, and it was the best decision I ever made. And I never looked back, and I absolutely love what I do every day.
So I actually quite liked going to school. I know that some people find it really quite difficult, but I actually liked to go to school, and it was something I just always wanted to do. And so I just thought, I want to be a teacher. And it's actually really good to make a difference to children's lives. And I think that's what we try and do every day.
What would you like to achieve most within your role?
I think it's absolutely crucial and important that children know their times tables and they learn how to create a sentence in English. But I think above all, I want to achieve a classroom full of nice people, kind children, polite children that know how to make a positive contribution to society, children that are happy within themselves and feel confident in their own skin. For me, that's would be my biggest achievement, knowing that they get to the end of a year with me, knowing that they've succeeded in being the best that they can be.
Well, that's something that's really, really important to us, that children are safe and happy and like going to school. And it's not all about academics actually being at school. It's about being a good person, being a good citizen. And that's something that's really important to both of us, I think.
Absolutely. I think it goes beyond the classroom and what you do in your maths book or your English book. Actually, you need to be happy in school to do any of those things well. So that's something that is at the forefront of our minds every single day, is making sure that we have safe, happy children.
And everyone's got a different skill. So your skill might be different to somebody else's. If you're not good at maths or English, you might be good at PE or music. And it's really important that all schools bring those skills out of all different children.
To be kind and caring is actually really important.
It's a human quality, isn't it? It's something that we want everyone to have. So yeah, really important.
We're interviewing you as the part of the Lessons for Life campaign.
Why do you think the Lessons for Life campaign is important?
Well, I think it encompasses everything that we do in school and everything that we want for the children that we teach. Really placing high importance on children's social, emotional and mental well-being. And I think that's ingrained in everything we do in school and is interwoven into every subject as well.
But it's absolutely true. We want our children to be really good, well-rounded people. And the Lessons for Life is part of that as well. It's going to be something we can teach and children can move forward with their own development.
What problems in society do you think education can fix?
I knew Mr. Brown was going to need to answer this one. I think we could not necessarily fix, but I think we can help children with making the right decisions about things in their life that perhaps they needed some guidance on. I think schools sometimes have to fix lots and lots of things, and unfortunately we can't do all of them, but I would like children to be given the opportunity to make the right decisions, make the right choices based on what we've tried to teach them.
And I think everything starts with education. We have a lot of problems in our society at the moment. A lot of, every time you turn on the news, it's something negative at the moment. And I think whilst we can't solve that, particularly in primary schools, we can definitely, influence the next generation to make the right decisions and make better choices in their lives, and hopefully they'll have a positive influence on society. So I don't think necessarily we can fix society and change it, right here and now, but actually we can send out a positive message that hopefully encourages children to make a positive impact on society.
If we give you the opportunity to think about what the right decision might be, or how you can change something, and give you the confidence to change something, I think that's really important. The confidence to be, to give your opinions, to say what you want to do and how you want to change things. That's what we need to do. Make sure that you can take risks about saying, yeah, I need to change that. And it's about people giving the confidence and valuing your opinions, isn't it?
I think that's really important.
I do.
Mrs. Skeggs, is it right that your school won the Primary School of the Year award in 2023?
Yes, we did. And we were really proud of that. So it was the TES Awards, and it was a big ceremony in London. And part of what the judging panel look at is all the different things around the curriculum and personal development within curriculum, as well as learning. And we were the national winner. So it was the whole country, and we were very proud. I was very proud. Yeah, the whole country. And it was something that we never thought we'd be able to win, but we did. And it was a great thing for our school, great thing for Stevenage, and for those people that had worked, and most importantly, those children that go to our school.
The whole country, though.
The whole country.
Wow.
And this was before I actually joined the school. I remember I was walking around the school on an interview. I went round to visit and have a look around, and I noticed it on display, and I genuinely couldn't believe it. The whole country. And you did a massive celebration as a school, didn't you?
We did. It was a great time, and we had a really good celebration with all the children, and we had a big party to celebrate those children and winning that great award. It was really good.
We're now at the back to school segment.
What was your experience of PSHE life skills lessons at school?
I think for me personally, it probably wasn't as prevalent and ingrained in my own education as I would have liked. I think to my class now and the PSHE lessons that I teach, and they're some of the best discussions we have as a class. They're some of our favourite lessons. We have a little talking teddy that we pass around when it's someone's turn to talk, and we get some really meaningful, deep conversations in those lessons. And when I think back to my school experience, I don't think high enough importance was placed on that as a subject. I don't know if you...
No, I agree. Well, I'm a lot older than you, Mr. Brown, as you know. But I definitely don't think that we did anything like when I was at school. And there wasn't as much emphasis placed on your own personal development or well-being, or certainly not mental health. And so, yeah, it wasn't a wonderful experience, really. So I think that we've moved on a great deal since then.
I think it's really important you touch on there on mental health as well. How can we expect children in classes to achieve to the best of their abilities if they're not happy within themselves? And I think if we don't designate time to talk about their mental health and encourage them to be open and honest with how they're feeling and deal with their emotions, then how can we expect them to walk into a maths lesson and be able to produce the learning that we're expecting them to?
And be comfortable to learn.
And be comfortable to learn.
To be engaged and thoughtful.
Sit in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we can't expect that if their mental health isn't considered and taken seriously.
We're now going to test your knowledge. This hat contains some life skills questions for you to answer. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Ready.
Thank you. Feelings and emotions. Question number 1. What actions could a pupil take if they were struggling with their emotions in the classroom?
Well, I think that comes down to the child being able to express how they are feeling. We have a really, really effective thing in my classroom. It's called a worry box. So sometimes children aren't actually able to verbally express how they're feeling. So sometimes they may be able to just write it down on a piece of paper and then post it in the worry box. And then maybe that breaks down the barrier of them then being able to discuss how they're feeling. Sometimes we have things like worry cards where they have different emotions on a card and they can just place it on their table, or maybe they can hand me their card. So it doesn't always need to be talking about your feelings, but maybe thinking about ways to express those emotions, telling that trusted person, whether it be a trusted adult, whether it be a friend, having that person there to discuss how you're feeling, so then you can resolve that.
I think that's really important as well, because I think you would be that trusted person, and that children would definitely seek out Mr. Brown or other members of our staff and be the trusted person they'd like to speak to. And that would be something I would really like, that somebody always felt they had someone to go and talk to as well.
Absolutely.
We have a worry monster.
Do
It's
you?
like a teddy. You open up the mouth. He could write something on a piece of paper and then put it in.
Sometimes easier to write, isn't it? So that you don't have to necessarily tell somebody.
And then when it's PSHE, after we've done that, we go in the worry monster and then he reads out worries.
We've got a worry monster in our classroom in year 4. What we actually have as well is a calm corner, which is lovely. We have loads of sensory toys in there. We have bean bags. And sometimes some children in my class, they may come in quite upset from something that's happened on the playground. And they just take a friend in for 5 minutes into the calm corner. They grab maybe a fidget, maybe a reading book. And that's that time to really decompress, realise how they're feeling so they can discuss with that safe person as well.
My school has worry boxes and worry monsters. My class has a worry monster. We named him Fletcher.
Fletcher, that's a
Good
strong
name.
name. I like that.
That's a good name.
Mine's called Wayne the worry monster. But I like Fletcher. That's a good one.
Fletcher's got a hat as
Learn
well.
something new every day.
Yeah. Wayne the worry monster. It's quite ugly.
Question number 2. Why do we sometimes feel jealous of our friends?
Well, I think that can come down to all manner of reasons. I think the most common reason is maybe we're jealous of things they have or possessions they have, or, we're jealous of the materialistic things. And sometimes, and quite often when I've come across that problem in the classroom, I've said, well, actually, we shouldn't look at what that person has and their possessions and what's on the outside. Actually, we should look within, and if we are doing all the right things and we being a kind, caring person who is polite and well-mannered to other people, then actually we don't need to worry about what other people have or what they're doing. We need to focus on ourselves.
I also think that sometimes people are jealous when other people get picked for things, or they represent some in school, like sports or school, things like that. And it's really difficult because you need to just think about what you're really good at and what you can achieve. But it's really difficult sometimes to look when you think, why have they been picked?
Actually, another thing that's really interesting is that you said that just because we might be jealous of something, but we shouldn't focus on what they have. We should focus about how we are, and if we're kind, and if we're caring, and if we're a good person to society, because any other person would just have said, focus on what you have and not of who you are.
But it's really important to know who you are, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really important to be proud of who you are.
And the last question is, how can we help a friend who is feeling down?
Well, I think the most important thing is just to be a friend and be there. I always say to the children, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It's so important, and a real skill is to just be there to listen. Sometimes to not even have that conversation, but to just know that your friend is there when you're feeling down and feeling sad. It's just such a lovely feeling, knowing that you've got that safe person there by your side when you're feeling down and upset.
Know someone cares about you. Yeah. Shows you that they care as well. That's really important, isn't it?
Yes, very.
Do you guys have friends in school that when you're feeling really upset that you go to?
Yeah.
What do those friends do in those instances?
They just say that they'll reassure me that everything's going to be all right. And yeah.
Sound like good friends.
Yeah.
And the next question is, can you tell us your biggest life lesson to date?
I think personally speaking, and I alluded to it earlier about football and having a setback there, is just being a resilient person. You're always going to face setbacks in life. These things are going to happen, but it's how we deal with these setbacks, how we overcome life's hurdles and break down those barriers that are in our way. I think that's such an important life lesson. I think when I got released from my football club, it felt like my whole world had fallen down. I cried and I cried and I cried. Little did I know, just down the road was teaching, and it's been the best decision that I've ever made, and I never looked back after that. So when one door closes, another one opens. It may be hard to see it at that time, but it can be the best thing that could ever happen to you.
And mine, it's not really about teaching necessarily. Mine's about being a mum. Because I think when you are a mum, you don't get a book to tell you how to do it. And so you have to learn it as you go along. And I think I've been a much better teacher since I've been a mum. I'm not sure all the children would agree with that with me, but I definitely think that has taught me to look at things very differently. So I'd say that was what my one was.
If you could change one thing about education, what would it be?
Where do we start?
I think for me, it would be about life skills being a really important form of education. And although it's very important to have academics, as we said, I think that would be the thing that I would like everybody to focus on. It's about life skills and us teaching children the appropriate life skills and how to be a really good person.
I think mine would filter into what we're discussing and what we've talked about as a whole, in that mindfulness and, dealing with emotions and feelings. I'd love for there to be a designated, compulsory 5 minutes a day where schools and children dedicate that to mindfulness, talking about emotions, talking about feelings. But that time is not going to move. We used to do it in my previous class after lunchtime, because we felt that we had a lot of issues coming in from the playground, where children were angry, where children were upset, where they've had friendship issues. So we used to have 5 minutes just quiet time when we do breathing exercises, or we would just have a conversation. And I think that's really important. So in an ideal world, I'd love for that to be compulsory.
It is now.
Oh.
We'll make it compulsory.
We'll make it compulsory. There you go. Good head teacher.
If you could teach children one thing before they leave primary school, what would it be?
Well, I think a lot of children would expect teachers to say, we want you to have the best marks on your SATs and we want the best grades possible. But arguably, I'd say that I just want my children to be good people. I want them to understand that life is about being a good person. It's about being kind. It's about seeing the value of their friendships, about seeing the value of their contributions to society as a whole. Their progress, children's progress isn't linear. You will develop at different rates at different times. So, and therefore, we need to make sure that we are not holding you accountable for where you end up at the end of your SATs, but actually we can measure you on the kind of person you are and how happy you are in your own skin and the positive contribution that you can make to society.
I think every teacher should teach that to their kids.
I think really it's okay to be you. And that's, I would like every child to know that when they left my school, that it is okay to be you and you don't need to be anything different other than yourself. And that's a really important life skill. As long as our choices don't harm others, then it's absolutely fine to be yourself.
That is very true. Our next question is, how can a teacher help a student feel more confident?
Ooh,
great question.
Really good question. Well, that's about valuing our children and respecting them and giving them value when they say something and share something. And I think that's really important, that you feel listened to. So you want to give your opinions.
I'd also say that every child is good at something.
Yep.
And I think you alluded to this earlier, Mrs. Skeggs, that it may not be maths, it may not be English, it may be art, it may be PE, it may be dance. But I think it's our jobs as teachers to shine the brightest light possible on whatever that may be and allow that child to feel as confident as they can be.
And it might not be something in school either. It might be something outside of school that we don't know about. And that's really important that you share those successes as well. And we really like doing that because we've got swimmers and dancers and really talented football players and, all sorts of different things outside of school. And we celebrate that in school as well, which is really important.
Giving our children a stage to come and talk to their peers about their successes outside of school is just as important as their successes in the classroom.
Such great answers.
Before we finish our interview today, is there anything else you would like to mention to our listeners?
Well, I'm not sure if you know, girls, that Mr. Brown has actually written his own children's book.
He's written a book?
I've written a book.
Oh,
yeah. So my book is actually all about what we've spoken today. It's all about those lessons outside the classroom for children to find their confidence, be the best version of themselves, to shine in their own skin, because that's the title of their book. It's called How to Shine in Primary School. So everything that we've spoken about today links really closely to my heart because, I spent months writing that book because I wanted to put something out there. It's not a storybook. It's not fictional. It's more of a toolkit for children to pick up, flick to the chapter that they need for that moment in their life to raise their confidence levels and to feel like they can be themselves and be the best version of themselves. So I think this links really closely to that.
But to be honest, Mr. Brown didn't need to write that because he does that every single day in his classroom anyway. Definitely children do shine with Mr. Brown. I'm sure you two shine at school as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Where can we find this book?
So you can actually find it in all of your local bookstores. It's in Waterstones. I really enjoy it because every time I walk past the Waterstones, I actually go in and sign a copy and leave it on the shelf. So you may see one locally. You can get it online on Amazon. And there's loads of different websites. If you type in How to Shine at Primary School, it comes up. But it's a really proud moment for me.
You should be proud.
Thank you.
And also, confidence is key.
I agree. I think it's so key to everything we do. And we want to breed confident children in the classroom.
And you girls have shown us that today.
Absolutely.
Confident, bright, lovely girls. Well done.
I really want this book now. I'm going to get the book.
I'll get you a coffee, don't worry.
Thank you so much for being here. It's been lovely talking to you.
Oh, thank you for having us, girls.
It's been amazing.
I had a lovely time. Well done to you both.
Yeah, massive well done.
To find out more, visit lessonsforlife.org.